Hey, do you want to make Performopods movies like this?
There's not much time. Is this a trick question?
Well, better than that one. You will make a good Performopods movie. This is true no-budget filmmaking. Free software, no fancy equipment. Let's do this. Yeah! What we're going to make in this first part is this, our first Performopod. This is a version of this tutorial for experts. If you're newer to Blender or something doesn't make sense, try the beginner version linked in the description. So what I'm going to do first is make sure I know which is the front of this cube. Alright, this is the front. Great. So go into edit mode with tab, scale down in Y to 0.4, scale in X to 1.6. Now Control R to activate the loop cut tool, mouse wheel up to select two cuts, left click, right click to place, and I'm going to scale them in Y a little bit, about like that. Go into the front view, scale it up about like that. Cool. So now double click here, change the name to Chara1, short for character, at least that's what I use. And now let's make the materials. So we'll use this first material for the rim. And now we need two additional materials, one for the video on the front and one for the video on the back. Make this one the front. I put Chara1 at the beginning of all the names so I'll know which material goes with which character. Now I'm going to assign temporary colors to these materials just to make them easier to assign. And go into material preview mode. Go into edit mode with tab, face select mode. Make sure I'm looking at the front. Here's the front. This material and click assign to assign that material. The back. Select the back material. Assign. Great. Now we want to make the UV maps. And we'll again need 3 UV maps. One for the rim, although we won't really be using that for a texture this time, maybe later. That's why we want it in the first place. But also a UV map for the front material and the back material. Now it's time to take a quick picture of the front and back of your head. Just make sure that the picture you take is the same aspect ratio as the video that you'll eventually put on the Performopod. Otherwise you'll get stretching issues with the UV map. If you want to do what I do, I open a short video of the front and back of my head in VLC Media Player, click Take Snapshot, and do it that way. Now we can go into the shading workspace and switch to the materials. And for the rim, this slightly glossy principled BSDF is fine. We don't need to do anything to that. But for the front, I delete the principled and I just use a diffuse material, a image texture node, and a UV map node. Connect them with F. And this is the front material, so the front UV map. And now load that temporary front image you took. Okay, and now I'm going to shift select all 3 of these, Control C to copy, and then I can just copy them into the back material. Delete the principled shader with X. And now connect this, change this to the back UV map, change this to the back texture. Now we're ready to edit the UV maps. Go to the UV editing workspace. Go into the UV map menu. Let's work on the front first. Select the front UV map. Go into edit mode. Select all the components of the object with A. Go to UV, Smart UV Project, and uncheck Stretch to UV Bounds. That will solve any aspect ratio problems you'll have, and make sure the UV map is the same aspect ratio as the actual geometry you're using. So over here I'm going to go into the front view, left click the front face, and over here now, A to select all of the UV map for this face. Just align this the way you want. That looks good to me. Switch over to the back UV map. Again, press A. Again, go to UV, Smart UV Project. Make sure Stretch to UV Bounds is unchecked. OK. Now we can left click this face and again move this around to where we want. Okay, now the only thing left to do is to scale the object appropriately because it's still way too big. What I did was I used the measure tool to measure out 1.78 meters, which is about how tall I am, and just used it as a way to estimate approximately how big I should scale this to. So scale yours appropriately, but don't worry about it too much. No one will notice if it's slightly off. So now we just want to apply the scale. And that is it. We're done. So please subscribe and hit the bell if you'd like to see more Performopods tutorials so you can make the next or the first great Performopods movie. With the Performopods method, you can make movies with friends from across the street, across the world, or all by yourself. Play every part like I usually have to. And if you want, you can make movies that are 4K, 3D, HDR, high frame rate, VR, all the crazy gimmicks that only huge movie studios used to have access to, now within your grasp. True, no-budget filmmaking with real live performances, simple motion captured animation that doesn't really need any special equipment, and CGI everything else for limitless possibilities for sets and props. Be one of the first to join the Performopods revolution. Yeah!